In today's video, we're working on day 10 of the 30-day scrap quilt challenge, Scrappy Corners. Start with a square, build out only on the corners. Hi, I'm Jackie of JunkGal63 Studio, and here we do all things with scrap fabric. Our block for today is a two-method square-in-a-square block. It's completely beginner friendly. What makes this one fun is that we'll be building out from the corners, a truly unique approach that lets you explore shape, contrast, and balance while keeping things scrappy and relaxed. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's all about movement and play. For each day in this challenge, a new prompt helps you generate ideas and try something new. Anything goes. I've got a free prompt sheet for you to download. You'll find that link in the description box below. I'll be making each block 12 inches square, and on the last day, we'll complete the final block and assemble our quilt in a quilt-as-you-go fashion. And remember, no rules, no perfection. Let's get started. Let's go over the materials you're going to need for this quilt block. First, I'm starting out with a 6.5 inch square block. I also have 4 3.5 inch square blocks, and I have a pile of scrap fabrics here. Because we're building out and I'm not sure what the size is going to be, but as we go along, we'll be able to figure that out. So let's start with our square, which is 6.5 inches. Oh, and then for the remaining materials, you're going to need 1 piece of batting, 12.5 inches square. I have that here. 1 piece of backing, 12.5 inches square, and basic sewing notions. Okay, now for our square. What we need to do is take our 4 squares that are 3.5 inches. Let's grab a small ruler, and we're just going to lay that across there from corner to corner. And with a marking pen, we're going to go from corner to corner on each one and just mark a diagonal line. And we'll do that on all 4. And your 4 squares could each be different if you would like. If you want it extremely scrappy, you could certainly do that as well. Take your 6.5 piece and lay this right in the corner there. And you probably want to grab some pins if you'd like to pin. In the opposite corner, go ahead and place a square there and pin that if you'd like. So that your piece is going to look like that. So right on the line, from corner to corner. When I have that done, I'll be right back. I'm back from the sewing machine, and it looks like this. It looks like I went off my line a little bit, but we're going to go with it. Place the 1/4 inch mark on your ruler on your seam line. And trim. Do the same on the other side. We're going to take this to the iron, press this seam, and then press it open. Look how pretty that is. All right, let's add our other 2 corners. Line that up in the corner, pin it, if you'd like. Same way with this corner. So right on that line for both of them. Back from the sewing machine, and we just need to add that 1/4 inch seam in there and trim. Press the seams and then press it open. I'm going to trim this with my Stripology squared mini ruler, and I'm just looking for my 6-inch square. And this is 6 right here, and my 0 mark is right there. So I want to line it up on there. All right. We know that that is 6 inches. Now we just need to turn it around and get 6 inches this way. This is the beginning of our square to build out. And I think it turned out pretty good. I did chop off this point, but that's okay. All right, our next step is to grab one of our pieces of fabric. Let me see what this is. I think this is 6 1/2. And I want that to be 6 inches. So we'll trim that up. I want it to be the same size as this block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six. And here's where we start having fun. We're going to take this block right side up. This is right side down. And just line up the sides and the corners the best you can. Grab your pins. Put one there. One there. Take your marking pen. Move your pen if you need to. That cannot go there. We'll wait to pin. We want to mark from one corner to the next. And you could wait until the next step, but I like to just go ahead and mark and get that out of the way. Just put an X on the back of the non-sewn side. Okay. Now you can pin if you'd like. So a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around the block. I'll meet you back here when I have that done. I'm just going to clip my corners here. Just don't clip your seams. Then what I want to do is remove my pins. All right, we're going to grab the center like that. Fold the center. And you need to cut a little hole on the lines. Just like that. And then we can come back down and just put your scissors in there and cut on your lines. That's it. Right up to the seam without cutting the seam. And if it's not perfect, it's okay, because this is a scrappy block. We're building out and we're not even sure what we're going to get. That's the fun of it. And make sure you're right up to that seam. And we're just cutting right on that line. Okay. Then open up your block. Look at that. We have a new block. So I am going to press these seams and then press them open. And it looks like that. And what we're going to do is just snip off these little pieces. Perfect. Next, let's measure this and see what we have. This came out to be 7 3/4 by, kind of looks like 7 1/2 on that side. All right, let's make sure I pressed all the way out. Oh, I see, 7 3/4, just right here. So what we're going to do, it is a little wonky, which is fine. We're going to make this work. We're going to cut a block 7 3/4. So we need another piece of fabric for the backing. And all we're going to do is just cut around there. Because we need to build this out to our 12-inch square. There we go. Then what we want to do is we're going to go like this. Sew our 1/4 inch seam allowance around and then trim that. After we sew it. Remember, no rules. All right, not on this piece, but on this piece here, 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. I'm back from the sewing machine, and I am just simply going to line up a 1/4 inch seam on my ruler. There's a 1/4 inch mark right here. So I will line up on my seam and trim with my seam line. There's my seam line, and there it is. And now we're ready to trim those corners. Just like that. Now we can make our marks on the other side from corner to corner. We are building out, right? We're definitely building out. We're not sure what we're building, but we're building out. Again, grab and separate your fabric. Line up on the line. Snip your line and cut on it. Let me press this and press it open, and I'll show you what we have now. All right, let's snip these off. How cute is that? We are really building this out. And let's see, we're really crooked here, which is fine because we are going to square all this up. And what we get is what we get. So we have to go one more time because we know that this is our 12 inches. So we definitely have to go one more time with one more piece of fabric. And I do have one here. It does get really wonky. But that's fine because we like Scrappy here. Okay, this is the right side. We'll put right sides together. Just like that. And just do some pinning. Again, we're going to do a 1/4 inch all the way around. And then trim it up like we did last time. You could just keep going and going and you could make a quilt this way, right? It would get really big. All right, off to the sewing machine. All right, let's trim on that 1/4 inch seam, and mine is a little off. And yours may be too, because I think what happens is, because we're sewing biases, it just gets stretched. But we're going to go with it because we will be trimming it up. Yeah, that one's really crooked. And I think because there's just so many seams, plus I'm using really old fabric too. But you know what? It's still going to be beautiful. Okay, we've got that. Then we just need to draw our line. From corner to corner. Again, we want to open up our fabric. Look for the lines. Snip your line, and then we're going to cut right on the lines. All the way up. But not into the seam. I'll press and then press this open. All right, I pressed this out. I have my backing and my batting. And I'm pretty sure by looking at my square up ruler that we're gonna lose some of these points, which is fine, it'll make it look really unique. But I need to pin this and get this quilted. And while I'm pinning this, I wanna take a moment to thank Sherry W., one of our wonderful viewers who sent in photos of her finished blocks from days 3 through 6 to share with all of us. Thank you, Sherry, for being a part of our quilting journey here. Aren't they beautiful? I will get this quilted, squared up, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a Bible verse and a final thought to encourage you. The Bible verse is from Philippians 4, verse 8. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. As we piece our corners together today, this verse reminds us to focus on what is lovely, the small blessings, the quiet colors, the joy of creating. Life, like quilting, is stitched from tiny moments that build into something greater. When we center our thoughts on what's pure and good, we allow beauty to grow right where we are. I think this turned out great. What did we do? A square and a square and a square and a square? I think that would be a quadruple square in a square. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for commenting, sharing, liking. It truly means the world to me. And until the next video, God bless you.